So let's go ahead and cover what is Azure. And for that, we'll ask Christina to talk about it.
Hi, I'm Christina Warren, Senior Cloud Developer Advocate, and today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Azure, which is a private and public cloud platform. If you've used Azure, you're familiar with the services it provides to developers and IT administrators to build, deploy, and manage applications. So whether you're already a pro or you're just getting started, let's take a quick look at what happens behind the scenes. Okay, so Azure uses a technology known as virtualization. Virtualization separates the tight coupling between a computer's hardware and its operating system using an abstraction layer called a hypervisor. And the hypervisor emulates all the functions of a real computer and its CPU in a virtual machine. It can run multiple virtual machines at the same time, optimizing the capacity of the abstracted hardware, and each virtual machine can run any compatible operating system, such as Windows or Linux. So Azure takes this virtualization technology and repeats it on a massive scale in Microsoft data centers throughout the world. Each data center has many racks filled with servers, and each server includes a hypervisor to run multiple virtual machines. A network switch provides connectivity to all of those servers, and one server in each rack runs a special piece of software called a fabric controller. Each fabric controller is connected to another special piece of software known as the orchestrator. So the orchestrator is responsible for managing everything that happens in Azure, including responding to user requests. And users make requests using the orchestrator's web API. The web API can be called by many tools, including the Azure portal. So when a user makes a request to create a virtual machine, the orchestrator packages everything that's needed, picks the best server rack, and then sends the package and request to the fabric controller. Okay, so once the fabric controller has created the virtual machine, the user can connect to it. Azure makes it easy for developers and IT administrators to be agile when they build, deploy, and manage their applications and services. In fact, building a virtual machine is just the beginning, with Azure's ever-expanding set of cloud services to help you meet your business challenges. It gives you the freedom to build, manage, and deploy applications on a massive global network using your favorite tools and frameworks. So,
as Christine talked about a little bit, there's a concept of compute in Azure. Now, when you're looking at compute, compute refers to the hosting model for the computer resources that your application can run in. The first is infrastructure as a service. Now, this is the most common and sort of basic type of infrastructure. The idea here is being able to run individual virtual machines that you manage and be able to simply run it on top of Microsoft's data center platform. You deploy whatever you want onto those VMs. You manage the operating system up on those virtual machines, so you can do whatever you want. And that's actually the closest to a traditional on-premise network that you'll see oftentimes in data centers. Now, the difference here is that Microsoft does manage everything below that virtual machine. So, they manage updates and patches to the lower end, but you're responsible for patching and managing and securing anything on those virtual machines. The next level is platform as a service. Now, platform as a service provides a managed hosting environment. So basically the idea here is that you manage from the application level up and you're leveraging that platform. The idea is, whereas in infrastructure as a service, you would manage the operating system, Microsoft is taking care of that for you. What that often means is there's often means a similar or a lower price point when running those services. And because there's more specialized, there's less you have to worry about. You don't have to worry as much in regards to backups or data protection or, making sure that the operating system is patched or is going to go down on you during regular maintenance cycles. The last is a newer one. It's a newer concept. Oftentimes you may hear this also as serverless compute. And the idea here is functions as a service. Now, this goes even further than platform as a service because it's removing the need to even worry about the hosting environment. So the idea here is that you break up your code into what's known as Azure functions. And here, this allows you to be able to run those individual sets of code. And instead of you paying for the compute time of the entire platform, you're only paying for the runtime of your code within that function at any given time. This is good for automatic capabilities, for scheduled jobs, and it's good for simplifying your architecture. So if it's something that you're able to program and you're able to code, it's going to help you reduce your overall costs when you're working in the Azure platform. And a lot of these capabilities are about cost management. It's about reducing the footprint of what you're leveraging of Azure, but still being able to accomplish your goals and objectives. Now, oftentimes when we're talking about infrastructure as a service, or you're talking about platform as a service, you have to learn about VM sizes. Now, what a VM size actually is simply a billing mechanism for Microsoft. What they've done is they've simply created what's known as these VM size profiles that contain a combination of CPUs, RAM, perhaps there's graphics processing units or GPUs as well. And then they may also associate other features to this VM size. And so when you're creating perhaps a virtual machine, you would specify a VM size that's needed in order to begin creating that resource. Now, the good thing about VM sizes is oftentimes you can switch between sizes. So you can start smaller or bigger and be able to change it as you go along and as you need that particular VM resource. This will help you manage your costs overall, as well as give you the control of being able to manage the capabilities of your VM. For example, let's say to start, you don't require any GPUs, but then over time, that may be something that you'll need. So you can go ahead and simply switch VM sizes, which just requires a restart of the virtual machine or of the service, and you're good to go. Now, with each of these particular VM sizes, there are service pricing tiers. And the good thing is, as you're choosing a particular service and you're specifying the VM size, it'll only show you the VM sizes that are compatible with that service. So not in virtual machines, but now when you start talking about platform as a service, that's where these things come into play. Now, the other concept that you'll run into is quotas. Now, Microsoft basically allows you to start with a specific set of resources, and in order to be a good neighbor, they set quotas so that one subscription that's being used in a specific region and a specific data center doesn't trample on other subscriptions and other customers that are also leveraging that data center, because at the end of the day, a cloud service is a shared resource. So when you're looking at quotas, there's going to be times where you're going to have to request an increase in core quotas. A core quota basically is choosing a VM size and saying, instead of 4 CPUs for this particular VM size, I'm going to need 20 or 200. So you would go through the Microsoft Azure ticket system in order to request those quotas. So now let's go ahead and walk through a tour of Azure Services.
In this video, you'll see a general overview of what you can do in Microsoft Azure. Azure is a little word for some pretty complex and vast capabilities. So to keep things simple, let's break them down into 8 main categories: compute services, cloud storage, networking, app hosting, AI, IoT, integration, and security. Ready? Let's go. Compute services. These cover virtual machines, containers, and serverless computing, including microservices. These services are primarily for performing calculations, executing logic, and running applications. Cloud storage. This includes disks attached to virtual machines, as well as more structured formats such as file shares or databases, all of which can expand and shrink as necessary. Networking features. These features let you set up private network connections to your on-premises environments and configure and control traffic into and out of Azure efficiently, helping to optimize application performance and scalability. Azure App Host. This feature lets you run your entire web application on a managed platform in Windows or Linux. Plus, the Azure Marketplace has a huge range of third-party products you can run in Azure, including SAP and SQL database solutions. AI, including machine learning and pre-built cognitive services. These services help you search and analyze existing data to forecast future behaviors, outcomes, and trends. Those predictions can even be used to make apps and devices smarter. IoT. Azure enables you to integrate sensors and devices and manage them with IoT hubs, allowing you to create full-featured dashboards and apps to monitor and control all of your assets. Integration. Logic Apps and Service Bus connect applications and services and allow for workflows to orchestrate business processes, whether those connected systems are on-premises or in the cloud. And finally, security. Security is integrated into every aspect of Azure, including a hardened infrastructure and global security intelligence monitoring. With Azure's identity management, you have tight control over who has access to each service and the data in it. That's a long list, and these 8 categories represent just a small fraction of the services available in Azure. Fortunately, it's quick and easy to try out a new service, then mix and match them to get exactly what you need. And the best part, you will only pay for what you use.